do the same. I'm never gonna get used to the iPad. All right, so let's actually start sitting today. We won't start standing, but let's start sitting. So find a comfortable seat, and I know I say this all the time, and I say that I say it all the time, but find a seat that feels really comfortable for you. So it could be different from what you usually do. It could be different from what you've seen other people do. A traditional seated pose is going to be that cross-legged, it's called easy seat, cross-legged seated position, but it doesn't have to be that. That doesn't feel good for everyone's knees. That doesn't feel good for everyone's lower back. So if that's you, maybe coming onto your knees, maybe extending your legs out long, maybe even sitting on something, a pillow, or if you have a block, you can sit on that block. So just finding a way to get comfortable in this space. That's the key right there. And then the next important thing is having that length in the spine. So if you were sitting with your legs extended, it might be tempting to be kind of like rounding the back a little bit, but wherever you are, try to get that length in the back of the body. We're setting ourselves up so that we can breathe as efficiently and as effectively as possible. And that long, straight spine is what allows us to do that. So setting up that alignment, creating that length in the back of the body, relaxing the shoulders down and back, lifting the chin so that your head isn't leaning forward. Lifting it so that it's parallel, not like you're looking all the way up or craning the neck, but just parallel to the ground. That imaginary string is drawing the top of your head up towards the sky. And as you make all of these adjustments with your physical body, start to soften through the mind as well. So that's one stop along the way, right? You adjust your legs, you adjust your spine, you adjust your shoulders, then you want to adjust the mind. And you do that by becoming present in this moment, by putting down anything that you don't need to be thinking about right now, and by bringing to the forefront of your mind something you do want to focus on. So that's why we create that intention, because if we were just to say, don't think about anything for the next hour, that's pretty near impossible, I think, to just say, empty your mind, don't think about anything. But if you focus on that intention, then you're going to be able to keep that focus there rather than having it go all over the place. So start to create that intention for yourself, that word, that phrase, that one thing that's going to keep you grounded and present throughout your practice. And let's just take a few more breaths here, enjoying this stillness. Big inhale into the nose, filling up the lungs, the chest, the stomach, almost imagining that breath moving through the body. So visualizing it coming down in through the nose, through the throat, into the lungs, creating that expansion. And then as you exhale, pressing it back out. A couple more times, just like that, feeling the body slow, feeling that stillness come over you. And then we're just going to start to circle those shoulders. On the next breath, draw those shoulders up towards your ears. As you exhale, let them release down and back. A couple more times, rolling out those shoulders. As always, make this the shoulder roll that you want it to be. There can be pausing involved. There can be taking one hand to one shoulder and kind of massaging it, or having both hands on the shoulders and circling them. So really, really making this your own practice, depending on what it is that's going to feel best for you. Once you've taken a couple circles in both directions with those shoulders, you've warmed everything up a little bit, relax those shoulders down and back and start to take it into the neck. So maybe releasing the chin forward first, and then slowly letting that head roll all the way around. This is another important one, to take it how you want to take it. If you go really fast, that might feed into a feeling of dizziness or vertigo. So take it slow, maybe hardly moving at all, maybe moving your head to one side and then just massaging that neck a little bit, moving it to the other side and taking your hand and massaging it again. And then eventually starting to lift the head back up towards the sky, sitting up nice and tall yet again. Bring your hands to your knees. If you're not in that cross-legged position, start to make your way into that cross-legged position now, and we'll start to circle that upper body. Taking big circles all the way around, one direction, the other direction. I think there was one class recently where I suggested having your hands out in front of your knees. That's an option as well if that feels better or gives you a different kind of stretch. So just some way or other, moving, circling that core, getting all into everything in there, all those internal organs, the muscles, the abs, everything is waking up. Whether you just rolled out of bed or whether you've already taken one class today, give that upper body a chance to move a little bit. And then slowly starting to come back through center. We're going to reach those arms up overhead. We're going to bring that left hand to the side of the body as you lean over to the left side, getting that nice length on the right side of the body, looking under that right arm, reaching those right fingertips. And then we're going to circle that right arm. So making big giant circles, couple one way, a couple the other way, just getting into that shoulder a little bit more. You can also bend the elbow and circle the elbow instead if that feels a little more fluid than circling the whole arm. And then we're going to start to take that back up through center and over to the right side. So the right hand walks away from you, the left fingertips reach, press that left shoulder back, shine that heart up towards the sky and create that length. Imagine what's happening here. Your left hip is pressing down into the mat. Your rib cage is expanding. The muscles under that left arm are stretching, so everything is lengthening and elongating. And then we'll start to circle that left arm, either bending the elbow and circling it or circling the whole arm. And eventually lifting it back up through center. Let's find our first forward fold. Walking those fingertips away from you as you start to fold the upper body down. Taking this one where you want it as well. That'll be the theme today. That's always the theme, but really the theme today. So folding forward, maybe there's movement. Maybe you're walking your hands from side to side, sort of leaning over one knee and then the other knee. Or maybe you're forward, but you're kind of rocking your upper body side to side. All of that movement can help you cut a little deeper into the pose or make the pose feel a little more comfortable. If it feels tight and stiff, sometimes that movement can start to loosen things up a little bit. And the opposite is true as well. Sometimes just being still is exactly what you need. So that's always an option that's available to you as well. And then slowly starting to lift yourself all the way back up, coming back up to that seated position. We're going to turn back over to the left. This time the left hand is coming to the side of the body and the right hand is coming to the left knee. So we're twisting here. Sit up nice and tall. Create that length in the spine as you inhale. And then as you exhale, twist over the left shoulder. So you're looking to the side of you or maybe slightly behind you. The more you press that right hand into the knee, the more of a twist you're creating. And then let's take it over to the other side, bringing the right hand to the side of the body, the left hand to the right knee. Press that left hand into the knee, creating that twist for yourself. Visualize that spine like that towel. That's my favorite visualization. And you're wringing the towel out. So the water is any kind of toxins or anything that we don't want stagnant in us, and you're wringing it out. You're cleansing and massaging all your internal organs, giving them a nice little hug. And then as you come back through center, let's reverse the cross of the legs. So whichever leg is closest to the body, bump that one to the outside. And we're going to take one more forward fold. Reach those arms up overhead. Exhale as you dive it down, walking those fingertips away from you. Same as you did on the other side. Rock it out from side to side. Walk the hands from side to side. Or just find some stillness. Letting the head become heavy. Sometimes we don't even notice it, but our shoulders and our necks are stiff. Like I'm looking up a lot to look at the camera, but you really want to let your head relax down. Like if I put my head down, you can't hear me as well. But you want to not have all that tightness and that tension in the neck, and just surrender into the pose. Maybe take a breath in and lengthen the spine a little bit, even sitting up a little bit. And then exhale, see if you can fold a little deeper. Each time you let go, you come a little deeper. And slowly starting to walk those hands back towards the body, coming back up to your seated position. Let's find our butterfly, bringing the soles of the feet together. Interlace those hands under your toes. Take that breath in, create that length in the back of the body, and then start to fold it forward. You always have the option to play around with where your feet are here, but maybe do that a little more deliberately this time. Draw your feet really close to you, see how that feels, and then bring your feet really far away from you and see how that feels, and decide which stretch is giving you the stretch that you need this morning. And you're going to feel it in a little bit of different places. If your feet are further away, you're feeling it more in the inner thighs. If your feet are really close, no, that's incorrect. If they're close, you're feeling it more in the inner thighs. If they're further away, you're going to feel it in the outer legs a little bit more. And then slowly starting to lift it all the way back up. Let's extend the right leg, bringing the left foot into the right inner thigh, flexing those right toes. So really focusing on keeping this leg active, even when we're in a simple stretch where we're hardly moving. Every little placement is important. So that right leg is straight, that right foot is flexed. Our body is turning towards that right leg. And then you're inhaling, lifting up those arms, exhaling, folding over that leg, however it feels good to you. We always like to start with that spine long as we can, and then eventually you can let that spine round a little bit. Maybe put that little bend in that right knee. Just take 2 or 3 breaths here. Creating that space on the inhales and folding into that space on the exhales. And then slowly lifting up through the upper body. We're going to take another twist. We're going to bring the left foot to the outside of the right knee. Keep flexing that right foot so the left leg is crossed over. Left hand is coming to the side of the body and the right arm is lifting up. And we're twisting to the left. That right elbow is hooking onto the outside of the left arm, or you're kind of hugging that left leg in towards the body. So either way, you're hugging that left leg or sort of pressing the elbow into it and using that connection with the left leg to deepen that twist. So looking over the left shoulder once again. Have that twist coming from the whole spine. So not just your neck, not just looking behind you, but again, visualizing that twist in the whole spine. And then as we come back through center, we're going to counter that by coming over to the right side just for a moment. Your hands can come to the mat, or the left elbow can kind of press into the left knee, one way or another, just sort of twisting to the right, unraveling that deep twist that you just did. And coming back through center, we're going to keep that right leg extended a little longer as we come into our seated pigeon pose. That left foot is coming on top of the right knee. So you're making that upside down figure 4 shape. And to start, let's just sit here. I always get us right into that hip stretch, but I want to focus on this. This is a stretch in itself. Notice where that left knee is. It might be really, really high up. That's okay. But we're working on relaxing it. So breathing into that left leg, maybe even sliding a pillow or a blanket under it to support it a little bit, and see if that left leg can start to relax down just a little bit. And then starting to decide if you want to take this deeper. If this feels like a great stretch for your left hip already and you don't need any more, stay here. If you're adding on, that right foot comes to the mat, you start to bump the hips towards the foot or slide the foot towards the body. And eventually you get that feeling, that stretch in that left hip. So you decide once you've got that, keep the spine nice and straight. Some people like to push themselves further into it and get that foot all the way towards the body, and then their back is rounded and they're compromising their form. So we don't want to do that. You want to keep that nice flat back, even if it means stepping the right foot a little further away from you. And then slowly go ahead and let that right leg extend if you had it lifted. Let the left leg extend as well, and just tap out the backs of the legs. Wiggle your feet from side to side, and we'll start to take that over to the left side. So keeping the left leg extended as the right foot starts to draw in, flex those left toes up towards the sky. Once again, setting up that alignment, shifting the upper body so that it's facing the left leg, flexing those toes, really active through the back of that leg. And then as you inhale, the arms lift up. As you exhale, fold over that left leg. Take the next few breaths however you want them. Massaging the leg, moving the leg, bending the knee, finding some stillness. And slowly starting to lift back up through the upper body. Let's find that twist by taking the right foot to the outside of the left knee, flexing those left toes. Your right hand is next to your right hip, and that left arm is peeling up towards the sky. As you start to twist to the right, you're hooking the left elbow on the knee, or you're hugging the knee in towards you, looking over that right shoulder. Each time you inhale, think about sitting up a little taller. Each time you exhale, think about twisting a little deeper. And then as we start to unravel that, you'll take it over to the left side for that counter twist, bringing it all out in the opposite direction, and come back through center so we can set up for our seated pigeon by taking that right foot to the top of the left knee, making that figure four shape. Your hands can be at the sides of the body. And again, start to check in with yourself. Where is that knee? Is it really high? If it is, maybe you massage that right thigh a little bit. Maybe you breathe into any tightness that you're feeling there. Slide a blanket under it, just allowing that right knee to start to relax a little bit, start to surrender, start to let go. And then if you want to add on, totally optional, but if you do, left foot is going to come to the mat, and you'll start to bump the hips towards the left foot. Keeping that length in the spine, maybe a little movement here, maybe a little rocking from side to side with the legs. And go ahead and let that left leg extend if it was bent. Right leg extends, tap the backs of the legs out, wiggle those toes, and find your wide-legged seated position, finding that V shape with the legs, still pressing those toes up towards the sky. Interlace those hands and start to circle the upper body. Couple circles one way, couple circles the other way. And as you come back through center, reach those arms up overhead with an inhale. With an exhale, fold it forward. Walk the fingertips away from you. Let the head relax. Breathe into any tightness here. We're going to start to walk our hands over to the right side, bringing that right hand to the right shin. Peel the left arm up towards the sky, taking your gaze up towards that left hand. You can either keep reaching the hand up towards the ceiling, or you can start to take it over to the right side. So kind of bringing the left shoulder towards your left ear, getting a little bit of a side stretch, whichever feels better for you. And then as you inhale, lift it all the way back up, reach those arms overhead, and we'll take it over to the other side. So the left hand comes to the left shin. Start off with that right hand reaching up towards the sky, gazing up towards that right hand. And then if you want to take it into that side stretch, the right shoulder can start to come towards the right ear. You're still looking under that arm up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, take it all the way back up. As you exhale, you can bring those hands to the sides of the legs and just gently press those legs back together. Wiggle the feet from side to side. And let's find our first tabletop position. So go ahead and roll over onto your hands and knees. Take a moment to set yourself up there. And then once you feel that you have that alignment. You can move through a couple rounds of your cat and cow. Press the stomach down, take the gaze up. And then round the back, press the ground away. Starting to connect that movement to the breath. And starting to do any other movements that you like here. We do this pose in every single class, so I'm sure by now you know what feels good for you. If it's rocking from side to side, if it's circling the whole upper body. As you start to come back through center, let's extend the right leg. Keep those toes tucked on the mat. Keep that right leg nice and long, and then we're gonna start to press forwards and backwards. We're doing that little stretch for the bottom of the foot. So a little massage for the right toes. Feel that opening in the bottom of the right foot and the back of the leg as well. And let's go ahead and lift that right leg so that it's parallel to the ground. Take that breath in, draw the right knee to the nose, round the back, and extend it long. And we'll do that 2 more times. You can move with your breath here. Draw the knee in, round the back, and extend. 1 more time, knee to nose, hug it in, extend. Pausing here, you can either stay here for another breath, or if you want to extend the left arm forward. So now you have left arm forward, right leg back. Stay here or reach back for that right foot, or even just bend the right foot and reach back. You don't have to have the hand and foot anywhere near each other. You can just be reaching for it. Go ahead and re-extend everything. Left hand comes back down to the mat if it was lifted. And let's find our modified side plank. So that left foot is your kickstand, the right foot comes down. That right arm peels up towards the ceiling, and then you're going to decide where you take that right arm. You can keep it up towards the ceiling. You can reach it over your head for that really long stretch on the right side of the body. You can circle that arm just like we did in the beginning in our side stretch. You can lift that right leg up if you're ready for some added challenges. If you had that right leg lifted, go ahead and place that right foot back on the mat. We're going to come into gate pose. So for gate pose, you're lifting up through the upper body. Your legs are staying where they are. That right leg is extended out to the side. And you're just going to slide your right arm down your right leg and lean over to the right side. Left arm is reaching over to the right as well. So you're getting a nice stretch on the left side of the body, looking under that left arm. And we'll go ahead and cartwheel that left hand back down to the mat. Bring the right hand back down to the mat. Finding your tabletop once again. Go ahead and move through a cat and cow. Shake it out. Settle in. And we're going to extend that left leg, keeping those toes tucked on the mat first as you start to press yourself forwards and backwards, massaging the foot, the ankle, the back of the leg. And then as you pause here, that left leg is going to lift parallel to the mat, and then draw that knee in around the back, give it a kiss and lengthen. 2 more times with your breath. Draw the knee in and extend. 1 more time, knee to nose. Extend. Pause here, find your balance, and then again, you decide. Stay here if this is the balance that you want. If you're adding on, that right arm is going to extend forward. So fingers and toes reaching in opposite directions. And then you have that last option. It's an option. Do it or don't do it, whatever you need. Left leg bends. Maybe that right hand reaches back for it. Maybe it touches. Maybe it doesn't. Even if you're reaching, you're still getting that back bend, which is the idea of this stretch, to bend that spine a little bit. So whether you have the foot or not, you're getting that back bend if you're reaching back. Go ahead and re-extend the arm and leg. We're going to bring that right hand back down to the mat as we start to find that modified side plank. Your right foot is your kickstand. Your left leg extends as you peel that left arm up towards the sky, and then take that left arm wherever you want it, either overhead or circling, or lifting that right leg, maybe reaching back for it again, just like we did in that other variation. As that left foot comes back down to the mat, we're going to come into our gate pose, lifting up through the upper body. Left leg is extended long. Left hand is resting gently on the left leg, and you'll start to take it over to the left side, getting that stretch on the right side of the body, reaching the right fingertips to the left, looking under that right arm. And you're not putting a lot of weight on that left leg, especially around your knee. So you're not like leaning your whole body into that left arm. You're kind of just, that arm is light on the leg. We don't want to be pushing any significant weight into the side of that leg. Your core is holding you here as always. And we'll start to close that off. Cartwheel that right hand back down to the mat, left hand back down to the mat. Find your tabletop again as you reset. And we're gonna sit back on your toes for a moment. So you can either tuck your toes and sit back. This is gonna give you, so like your toes are tucked and you're kind of sitting back on your heels. This is gonna give you a really deep stretch for the backs of your feet. If you want that stretch, stay like this. If at any point it starts to be like, no, this is way too much, then you can either just kind of lift up onto your knees without your heels, or even come lower so that your toes aren't tucked anymore. But I'll have you start here, give it a try. We're gonna go ahead and make little fists, extending your arms out in front of you, and then just start to circle those fists. So make a couple circles in one direction, make a couple circles in the other direction. And then go ahead and extend your right hand out long in front of you. Take those left fingertips, draw the right hand towards you. So you're stretching the bottom of that right arm with the left hand. And then take the right hand, press it towards the mat, and take the left hand just gently on the top of the right hand. And we'll do the same on the other side. So make that high five with the left hand, right fingertips start to draw the left hand back. It's nothing that's painful or more than that wrist wants to do, just enough to kind of warm up those wrists a little bit, especially if we're on our wrists a lot in tabletop and downward facing dog. It's good to give them a little love. Go ahead and point those left fingertips down towards the mat, press the top of the hands. And then just release it all, shake out those hands, kind of like you're trying to shake water off your hands, just let it all go. And then we'll come back to our tabletop just for a moment, and you'll start to make your way into your first downward facing dog, tucking those toes, straightening those legs, send those hips up and back as you begin to settle into that down dog. Let's take 5 or so breaths here. We've warmed up a lot, but we haven't been in this shape yet. So take your time, lift those heels up and then pedal them back down. Bend your knees and then straighten them. Rock your hips from side to side. Shake your head, yes or no. Let's roll it forward into our plank position. Tuck your tailbone, engage your core. We're gonna move through a couple rounds of our flow. So knees come down, lower all the way onto your stomach, and then press it up into your cobra. Any cobra you want. You can do that baby cobra every single time if that's what you like. Your hands are lifted, your chin is about 2 or 3 inches off the mat. You're getting a back bend. That's great. If you like to press the hands in and lift up a little more, you can do that as well. From here, let's press it back to our downward facing dog. You can lower yourself down, tuck the toes, straighten the legs, find that downward facing dog. Take your gaze towards your hands as you start to walk those feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift as you inhale, flat back. Exhale as you fold. Inhale as you lift it all the way up, reach those arms up overhead. Take that little back bend as you gaze up towards the sky. As you exhale, we're gonna take it right back down, dive it down, forward fold. Bring the fingertips to the mat, little bend in those knees. Step it back to your downward facing dog. Start to roll it forward into your plank position. Tuck the tailbone, engage the core, find that strength here, using every muscle in your body. And then slowly the knees come down, slowly hugging those elbows in. You lower yourself onto your stomach and then find that cobra. As you lower out of your cobra, you'll make your way back to your downward facing dog. Tuck those toes, straighten those legs. Send those hips up and back. Take the gaze towards your hands nice and slowly. Walk those feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift when you arrive, flat back. Exhale as you fold. Inhale as you lift it all the way up, reach those arms up overhead. Take that back bend, take the gaze towards the sky. Let's do that little sequence one more time. As you exhale, dive it down. Bring the fingertips to the mat, put that bend in the knees, step it back to your downward facing dog. Slowly start to roll it forward into that plank. Knees come down, all the way down with the body. Press it up to that cobra. This time, find your child's pose. Press those hips to the heels. Toes together, knees apart, fingertips can stay at the top of the mat. They can make that pillow for your head, or they can come to the sides of the body. So take 3 to 5 breaths here. Think about your intention. Think about how you're feeling right now. Think about what you still need out of your practice today. And then starting to walk those fingertips back towards the top of the mat. If they're not there already, you're going to begin to make your way back to your downward facing dog, tucking those toes, straightening those legs, sending those hips up and back. Taking the gaze back towards the hands, slowly walking forward into that forward fold. Let's hold this for a few breaths if it feels comfortable. Taking any variation that you like, holding on to opposite elbows, bending the knees, hands behind the legs, hands behind the head. And then slowly starting to lift it all the way back up, nice and slow, reaching those arms overhead. Take that back bend if it feels comfortable. Interlacing the hands overhead. Let's keep our pointer fingers pointing up. So you're interlacing your fingers, pointer fingers up towards the sky. Shoulders are relaxed. So if you feel like they're right up near your ears, see if you can dial them down a little bit. Take a breath in. As you exhale, take it over to the left side, stretching the whole right side of the body, looking under that right arm, pointing those fingers to the left, pressing the hips to the right. And take it back up through center, and we'll take it over to the other side. So the fingers are pointing to the right, the hips are pressing to the left. You're getting that long stretch on the whole left side of the body as you look under that left arm. As you come back up through center, let's exhale, dive it down. Bring those fingertips to frame out the feet, and we're going to keep the right foot where it is. Step your left foot to the back of the mat, coming into that low lunge. From here, let's bring the back knee down. Left knee comes down, untuck those toes. The left hand is going to stay grounded as you peel the right arm up for the twist. Take your gaze up towards that right hand. And slowly bringing that right hand back to the mat. As you exhale, press your hips back. Usually we move here, but we're going to stay still here for a moment. This is called half split. So the left hip is above the left knee. That right leg is extended. If you need to kind of bump the right leg away from you a little more, you can kind of move that heel. those right toes are pointing up towards the sky, and you're folding over that right leg. Now from here, let's start to take it into that Anjana Asana. So bringing the right foot back to the mat, rebending that right knee, lifting up through the upper body. Your hands can come to the knee or they can reach up overhead. Sinking those hips lower as you lengthen through the upper body. And slowly starting to bring those hands back down to frame out that right foot. Let's tuck the back toes, straighten that back leg, coming to a wide-legged forward fold, walking your hands over to the left side, turning your toes to face the side of your mat, and taking any movement that you like once you get here. That could be twisting. Maybe your left hand comes to the mat and your right hand lifts up towards the sky. And then you do the opposite. Right hand comes down, left hand lifts up. Maybe you walk your hands to one foot and then the other foot. Or you hang like a rag doll. And then we're going to slowly make our way back to that low lunge, walking the fingertips back to the right foot, spinning to the ball of the left foot. So you're facing the top of the mat in that runner's lunge pose. And then let's just step it back up to a forward fold. Left foot steps up to meet the right. Little halfway lift as you inhale. Little exhale as you fold. Let's inhale and lift it all the way up, nice and slow. Reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, dive it right back down, forward fold. This time the left foot is staying forward. You're gonna step that right foot to the back of the mat, settling into that low lunge shape. And then once you arrive, the back knee can come down. Untucking those right toes, press the top of the right foot into the mat, and we'll take our twist, grounding down that right hand, peeling that left arm up towards the sky, gazing up towards that left hand. Think about keeping the left knee on top of the left ankle so you're not just letting that leg sort of release out to the side. You're keeping that nice alignment with the lower half of the body, and that allows the upper half of the body to twist more. And then bringing that left hand back down, let's find that half split. So pressing the hips back so that the right hip is over the right knee. You're gonna lengthen the left leg. I always end up bumping the leg a little bit away from me, so you can do that as well. Long left leg, flex those toes up towards the sky as you fold over that left leg, maybe giving it a little massage, maybe a little movement, warming up the back of that leg even more. And then we'll start to take it forward, placing that left foot on the mat, rebending that left knee as you lift up through the upper body. Fingertips can come to that left knee or they reach up towards the sky. And starting to bring those hands down to frame out the left foot, tuck the back toes, straighten that right foot, and then we'll walk our hands over to the right side. One more time, coming into that wide-legged fold. Maybe the same thing you did on the other side, maybe something different. Maybe you're moving, maybe you're still, whatever feels right. And then we'll start to find that low lunge, walking those hands over to the left foot. Coming back to the top of your mat, spinning to the ball of the back foot. Fingertips frame out that front foot, and then we'll step it up to a forward fold one more time. Right foot steps up to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. Inhale as you lift it all the way up. Reach those arms up overhead. Take that little back bend. As you exhale, dive it down, forward fold. Put a little bend in those knees, step it back to your downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Roll it forward into your plank position, nice and strong. Core is engaged. Feel that strength in your whole body. And then lower the knees down, lower onto your stomach. Press it up to that cobra. And from here, let's just press it back to a tabletop. So go ahead and bring those hips over the heels. Move through a couple rounds of cat and cow to kind of shake it out a little bit. Whatever feels good for your spine. If you want to rock those hips from side to side, maybe circle the upper body a little bit. And then we're going to start to make our way all the way down into a seated position. So when you're ready, you'll start to come all the way down onto your mat, swinging those legs around out in front of you, starting to collect yourself if there's anything you want on or near you as we start to move towards the end of your practice. Socks, sweaters, water, anything like that. Legs are extended long, toes are flexed up towards the sky. As you inhale, those arms are lifting up. As you exhale, fold it forward. Fingertips can come to the feet, to the shins, to the mat, wherever it feels comfortable and accessible. Go ahead and do that. Slowly lifting back up through the upper body, and we're going to start to take it all the way down. So one vertebrae at a time, lowering yourself all the way onto your back, finding that full body stretch once you get there. Reaching the arms overhead, pointing the toes, maybe rolling out the ankles and the wrists if that feels good, or moving from side to side a little bit. Any kind of movement that feels good, go ahead and do that. And then bringing those hands to the sides of the body. We're going to bend our knees, bring your feet to the base of the spine. Before we get into our back bend, let's lift that right leg up towards the sky. And we're just going to start to raise and lower that foot. So as you flex the foot, lower it down towards the mat. And then point the toe, lift it back up. Couple more times, just like that. Flex the foot, lower it down. Point the toe, lift it up. So you're warming up the back of that leg, or not really warming it up because we've been using it, but just noticing the range of motion here. Usually if I do this, I do it at the beginning of class. So you might feel a little tighter through the leg. Notice if you're able to move it a little more, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's tired and it's not moving as much. That's fine as well. The next time that right leg is lifted, go ahead and bring the hands behind it so that you can kind of draw that right leg a little bit closer to you. And then maybe you're going to circle the ankle or bend and straighten the knee or massage the back of the leg, lifting the head up towards the knee. Any kind of movement that feels good for that leg, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to do one more little hip stretch. So bringing that right foot to the left knee, extend those arms out to the side. Let those hips rock from side to side. Little twist first. And then we did this from seated already, but now we're going to do it on our backs. You're going to lift that left leg up off the mat, interlace those hands either behind the thigh or around the shin. Both feet are flexed as you draw that left leg towards you. And slowly placing that left foot down on the mat, placing the right foot down on the mat. Let's extend the left leg up towards the sky, nice and flexed with that foot as you start to lower the left heel down towards the mat. And then as you point the toes, lift it back up. Couple more times just like that. Moving at any speed. The slower you go, the more you're actually going to feel it. So if it's really, really slow, it takes a lot more control. It's a little faster. Sometimes that just feels good to loosen up the leg. So whatever feels right for you. The next time that leg is lifted, those hands can come behind the leg, massage the thigh, massage the calf, whatever feels good. Bending the knee, rolling out the ankle, lifting the head up a little bit as you walk those hands higher up the leg. As you place your head back down on the mat, that left foot is coming to the right knee. You're extending your arms out to the side. Just let those hips rock back and forth for a moment. Kind of loosening up the hips, loosening up the spine. That's really what we're doing here. And then as you come back through center, that right leg starts to lift. The hands come behind the thigh or wrapping around the shin, whichever way you like to grab that leg is fine. Both feet are flexed. Maybe even gently pressing that left knee away from the body with your hand a little bit. And slowly placing that right foot down on the mat, placing that left foot down on the mat. Now let's start to find our bridge pose. Hands are at the sides of the body. As you inhale, start to press those hips up towards the sky, and then you decide. Hands can stay where they are, or they start to interlace under the body, shimmying those shoulders under you. So whichever variation feels the best. Taking about 3 more breaths here, continuing to press those hips up, allowing that spine to gently bend. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, peeling that spine back down onto the mat. Once the tailbone touches, you can find that little windshield wiper movement with the knees rocking from side to side. And then eventually you'll hug those knees in towards you, wrapping your arms around your shins as you give yourself a little hug, pressing that spine into the mat. Maybe you're rocking side to side or circling those knees a little bit. You can start to come into your happy baby whenever you're ready, with those knees bent, the feet pressing up towards the sky. Always having the option to take any variation you like here, whether that's extending one leg and then the other. Maybe bringing the soles of the feet together or extending both legs. And from this shape, you'll start to think about the inversion that you want, whether that's happy baby, where you already are, or you're sliding over to a wall to do your legs up the wall, or doing that legs up the wall without the wall. So starting to make your way into that shape now. And again, settling in 5 to 7 breaths. Slowly, once you've taken those breaths, those knees will begin to draw back in towards you. Those arms will wrap around your legs, giving yourself that little hug as you start to set up for your final twist by reaching the arms out to the side, letting the knees release over to the right. Any shape that feels good here. Eyes can start to float closed. Breath can start to slow down a little bit. And gently switching over to the other side, drawing those knees back through center and then taking them over to the left. And again, drawing those knees back through center. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees release out to the side for your Baddha Konasana or reclined butterfly pose. Hands can come to the stomach or the thighs or the sides of the body. And as always, as one of our last poses, start to do that final inventory, checking in with yourself one last time. What else do you need, if anything else? If there's another shape or another pose, start to do that now. And then simultaneously starting to think about the shape that you want to end your practice in this morning. So beginning to make your way into that final shape. If you're not there already, once you arrive, take as much time as you need to get there, but once you do arrive, those eyes will close if they're not closed already. The body starts to surrender. Again, maybe you've already relaxed, maybe you've already let go, but you're going to do it again. You're going to soften the shoulders, soften the jaw, soften the back of the body, letting everything melt into your mat. And just let yourself float here, existing in this moment, enjoying the stillness, connecting with your breath here in Shavasana. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Gently starting to bring that awareness back to the body. Slowly waking yourself up. Starting with tiny movements. Eventually taking any stretch that feels good for you. Gently making your way over onto your right side with the knees bent, the head resting on the arm. Take another moment here on your mat. You slowly begin to transition your way from your practice back into the rest of your day, into the rest of your weekend. You can gently start to make your way all the way up to a seated position, pressing those hands into the mat to help lift your body up. Eventually finding that seat with the hands coming to heart center. I'm grateful for all of you for joining me this morning, for starting your weekend here on your mat, for bringing that light and that energy with you and sharing it with us. Hope you have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday and a great weekend. And I'll see you next week. Namaste.